Have you ever wondered who would emerge victorious in a battle between a vampire and a werewolf? Well, you're not alone. On this episode of the Hypothetical Muse, we're asking this age-old question that has intrigued us for centuries, and today, we're going to delve into it. We'll be exploring the fascinating and often chilling origins of these two mythical beings, tracing their roots back to the earliest tales that sent shivers down our ancestors' spines. We'll uncover the strengths that make them formidable and the weaknesses that make them vulnerable. But that's not all. We're also going to bring these two creatures face to face in a thrilling showdown. Imagine a vampire with its deathly pallor and a werewolf with its ferocious strength, locked in a battle, each displaying their power but with no clear victor. Intrigued? Well, you should be. So, get ready to dive deep into the world of these mythical creatures. Vampires, the blood-sucking immortals, have a rich and varied history. Their roots are deeply embedded in folklore and mythology, with tales of these nocturnal creatures pervading cultures around the globe. From the ancient Greeks to the Mesopotamians, early civilizations were riddled with stories of beings that feasted on the life force of the living. The Greeks told tales of the strigoi, creatures that rose from the dead to consume the blood and energy of the living. Similarly, the Mesopotamians feared the ekimu, spirits of those not properly buried, believed to return and wreak havoc among the living. As we move east, the zhangshi of Chinese folklore emerges. These hopping corpses, rather than sucking blood, were said to consume a person's ki, or life energy. Meanwhile, in Slavic mythology, we find the Uper, a vampire known for its insatiable hunger and ability to transform into a wolf. But it's in the heart of Europe, particularly in regions like Transylvania, where the vampire we're most familiar with today takes shape. Here, tales of the undead were so prevalent they influenced laws and daily life. Of course, vampires truly stepped into the limelight with the publication of Bram Stoker's Dracula in the late 19th century. Stoker's Count Dracula, a suave yet menacing figure, became the archetype for modern vampires, fusing together many of the characteristics found in folklore. The novel's success propelled vampires from the realm of superstition into popular culture, and they've held our fascination ever since. While the vampire's origins are rooted in fear and the unknown, their evolution in literature and popular culture has added layers of complexity. They've become symbols of seduction, power, and eternal life, often embodying our own human struggles with desire and morality. Thus the vampire, a creature of the night, was born. From fearsome spirits of ancient civilizations to the compelling figures we see in media today, vampires continue to captivate us with their blend of horror and allure. As we delve deeper into their history, we can only wonder what new interpretations the future might bring. Now, let's shift our focus to the werewolves, the shape-shifting beasts. Werewolves, like their fanged counterparts, have a rich history steeped in folklore and myth, with their origins tracing back to ancient civilizations. In the heart of Europe, particularly in regions like Scandinavia and Germany, stories of humans transforming into wolves under the full moon have been passed down from generation to generation. These tales were often cautionary, warning against the consequences of indulging in base desires or immoral behavior. A common belief was that those who committed grave sins were punished by the gods and cursed to live as wolves. Moving across the globe to Native American folklore, we find the Wendigo, a creature similar to the werewolf, representing greed and excess. The Wendigo was believed to be a human who had resorted to cannibalism, consequently being transformed into a monstrous beast. Interestingly, it wasn't until the Middle Ages that the term werewolf was coined, derived from the Old English words wer, meaning man, and wolf, meaning wolf. The term encapsulates the dual nature of this creature, part human, part beast. Now let's dive into the world of literature. The werewolf has been a popular figure in many stories, but one book in particular stands out. The Werewolf of Paris by Guy Endore. Published in the early 20th century, this novel not only presents a gripping tale of horror and suspense, but also explores the psychological aspects of the werewolf myth. The protagonist, Bertrand, is cursed to transform into a wolf-like creature during the full moon, symbolizing the struggle between human morality and animalistic impulse. So, from ancient myths warning against moral corruption to modern literature exploring the human psyche, the werewolf has evolved yet retained its core essence. It continues to embody the struggle between our civilized selves and our primal instincts, our humanity, and our beastly side. And that's how the werewolf, a creature of both man and beast, came into being. Now that we know their origins, let's examine their strengths and weaknesses. First off, let's delve into the might and frailties of our fanged friends, the vampires. With a lineage steeped in mystique and dark allure, vampires are known for their physical strength, speed, and agility. They are often portrayed as being able to move faster than the human eye can follow and can lift several times their own weight. Their immortality is another defining trait, allowing them to live forever unless they meet a premature end by the likes of a wooden stake or sunlight. This immortality also grants them the gift of eternal youth, a trait that has led many immortal to fall prey to their charm. Vampires also possess the ability to heal rapidly from any wound, barring those inflicted by silver or holy relics. They can also compel humans, bending their will to the vampire's whims. This power of compulsion, often depicted in stories like Dracula and the Vampire Diaries, makes them formidable opponents. However, these night dwellers have their share of weaknesses too. Sunlight, for one, can be lethal. They also have a notorious aversion to garlic and holy symbols. Crucifixes, holy water, and mirrors have been used in folklore and fiction to repel these creatures. Now let's turn our attention to the werewolves. Werewolves are creatures of raw power and primal instinct. Their strength and speed far surpass those of any human, and are even considered superior to vampires in many tales. Their transformative ability is both a strength and a weakness. On the one hand, it allows them to blend in with humans, providing a form of camouflage. On the other, the transformation is often depicted as painful and uncontrollable, linked to the cycles of the moon. Werewolves are also known for their heightened senses. They can hear a heartbeat from a mile away, track scents like the most skilled bloodhound, and their night vision is unparalleled. But just like vampires, werewolves have their vulnerabilities. Silver is often considered their kryptonite, with even a minor wound from a silver bullet or blade being potentially fatal. They also lack the immortality and mind control abilities of their vampire counterparts, relying more on their brute strength and animalistic instincts. In literature such as Twilight and Underworld, these two creatures are often pitted against each other, each with their own set of fans cheering them on. The vampires with their dark allure and mind control abilities, and the werewolves with their brute strength and heightened senses, make for a captivating matchup. As we can see, both creatures possess formidable powers and crippling weaknesses. Their strengths make them feared and respected, while their weaknesses make them relatable, adding layers of complexity to their characters. So, who do you think would emerge victorious in a showdown? The sophisticated and cunning vampire, or the raw and powerful werewolf? Now, imagine a showdown between these two creatures. In the dead of night, under a full moon's glow, the eerie silence is shattered by the chilling howl of a werewolf. The vampire, with its supernatural speed and agility, is already alert, anticipating the imminent confrontation. This isn't a fight of mortal beings, but a clash of titans, of creatures of legend and horror. The werewolf, a behemoth of raw power and brute strength, leaps at its adversary. Its claws, sharper than any blade, are ready to tear into the vampire. But the vampire, a master of the shadows, is not an easy target. It dances around the werewolf, its movements a blur, almost ghostly. The vampire retaliates with its fangs, aiming for the werewolf's throat. It knows that the werewolf's regenerative abilities are a formidable challenge. However, the vampire's own immortality is a card up its sleeve. But the werewolf is not to be underestimated. It is a creature of instinct, of primal rage. It fights with a ferocity that is terrifying, its every blow shaking the earth beneath. The vampire, however, matches this with cold, calculated precision, a deadly dance of death. In this clash of supernatural beings, it's a battle of brawn versus agility, brute force against strategic maneuvers. It's a spectacle that leaves one breathless, a thrilling testament to their immortal power. So, who do you think would win in this epic showdown, and, given the choice, which creature would you prefer to be and why? Would you favor the immortal allure of the vampire or the primal power of the werewolf? Remember, both have their strengths, their weaknesses, their rich histories, and their iconic roles in literature. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content. Until next time, keep wondering.